Welcome to the Let's Grow Together podcast. My name is Hannah Ross, and hosting with me today is
Ray McKetty.
the Let's Grow Together podcast is a career readiness podcast with a twist. We're going to be exploring STEM careers, the STEM industry, and getting you ready for whatever your next steps are going to be.
Let's jump into it.
All right, on today's show, we're going to be talking about why STEM. What is STEM? What isn't STEM? Why do we care? And why a job in STEM might be right for you.
So before we begin today, let's just give a little bit of a background on you and me, Hannah. I'd love for you to go first.
All right. So, like I said, my name is Hannah Ross. I am one of Let's Go's program managers, and I have a background in ecology and evolutionary biology, so the science side of STEM. I pursued science all throughout post secondary school and then worked as an environmental educator for a few years before ending up with Let's Go, where I now do career readiness work. So, definitely coming from a STEM background in the first place, but there might be some debate on whether or not my current job is considered STEM, and we'll get into a little bit of that today. But first, Ray, you want to give us a little bit of your background?
For sure. So I am coming in through to this as the redheaded stepchild. Not really coming from a STEM background per se, but I did a lot of youth development work. My background in college, I got my uh, degree in English. And after graduating, I did some stints with AmeriCorps and Peace Corps doing stuff with literacy, youth development, traveled around, bounced around, and came back to the States because of COVID. Worked for a little bit in doing some case management before making my way up to Maryland as to pursue my master's in community leadership at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And upon graduating, I got a job with Let's Go Boys and Girls as a program manager. So I work with middle and high school programs in the Baltimore City area, but I also work with you, Hannah, as a fellow program manager in workforce development. So yeah,
Awesome.
and I'm looking forward to us talking about STEM and career readiness with our different backgrounds, right? It's going to be, I think, it's going to yield a lot of interesting conversation. So,
Definitely. I love that we're both coming from STEM and non-STEM backgrounds. I know both of us had really impactful AmeriCorps experiences.
yeah,
So, definitely looking forward to wrapping everything into this podcast.
for sure, for sure.
So, let's jump right in on why STEM. I know STEM is most of the time defined as its basic acronym: science, technology, engineering, and math.
Hmm.
But what does that include and what does it exclude? Because I know we've heard a lot of different definitions going around. And so I'd love to get your take on what is a part of STEM and what are some careers that maybe aren't part of STEM or should be part of STEM if people don't consider them a part of STEM right now.
Yeah. Uh, when we were talking about this, I remember we were kind of going back and forth about one, how a lot of the conveniences that we enjoy today are because of STEM. Uh, Everything from the technology we're using to do this podcast to the technology involved in putting our phones together, or even using a pencil or what have you, or sending rockets to the moon, or drones delivering Amazon packages, what have you. It's all related to STEM in some way, shape, or form. And so it is imperative to, that we have people who are interested in STEM and are looking to kind of add to the field in a way that, is helping us move further and further. But to also, point out that the things that are related to like life sciences, biological sciences, like your background, Hannah, too. Like we need doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, pediatricians, veterinarians. Like we need people in all these different areas of, I guess, the science, technology, engineering, math field, because it's definitely big into when I think about like left brain, right brain stuff. It's it's the left brain stuff that our world is kind of based around. And as a more right brain person, I can have a lot of deep appreciation for the for all the things in left brain and right brain psychology. Is like left brain is like the logical and forward thinking and rational, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and then the right brain is more metaphorical and it's more big picture, and that's what I would say. That's my kind of working definition of STEM.
I love that you brought up medicine as a field. I think that that's a really important one that gets missed a lot of time. Some people have started using the STEM acronym with an extra M on the end for medicine, but a lot of people still don't consider medicine to be a STEM field, which I gotta be honest is very confusing to me because what other fields do you need a better background in science and use more high tech items, right?
Right.
So I think definitely agree with everything you said. STEM is so much more than just being an engineer or being a researcher. Technology is everything. Anything that we've created that makes our lives easier or better counts as a technology. And so when we limit ourselves to this narrow view of STEM, I think we miss out on a lot of the amazing things that people can do and also miss out on a lot of connections between the fields. Things like interdisciplinary majors and jobs are becoming more and more common, where you're not just in one field, you're not just doing biology. Maybe you're combining biology and engineering, or biology and chemistry, or any of these interconnected fields. And I think that that's where STEM is going. And learning how to broaden our definition of STEM is going to really help us in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. Um,
So, our next kind of question about why STEM, as we begin exploring this podcast and everything that is out there in the STEM universe, why should people care about a job in STEM? Why should people care about pursuing any kind of STEM activities?
I love that you use the STEM universe. It just makes me think of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We're going to start our very own movie
STEM.
enterprise, right?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, like, well, if you really want to take it there, Tony Stark was a STEM guy. Most likely, he wasn't, at the
Almost
open
all of them are
mics.
STEM people.
That's very true. That's very true. So you heard it here, folks. And if you want to be a superhero, you got to pursue a STEM career. I don't make the rules. That's, but this is a very interesting question for me. Why I care about doing STEM? Because again, full transparency, STEM was, one of my weaker areas growing up. Right. And so, I got a lot of love for um the humanities, social sciences, politics, art, et cetera, et cetera. But it's important to not treat these as two different things. They're two sides of the same coin, you know, and one informs the other. So what I would say is that one, it's just important overall from that kind of more humanity standpoint to have people of all different uh, backgrounds, of all different walks of life, different lived experiences who are in these fields and contributing things from an intercultural perspective. You know what I mean? And approaching things because something that is good to keep in mind is that uh, STEM is great, but there's got to be heart with it as well. And sometimes not the most ethical things have been done in the name of science, or like the pursuit of uh technology or science. So it's that's how I interpret it. It's important because it's like these are the things that kind of drive our world forward, our civilization. It's what, as we take leaps and bounds into the future, how are we doing it in an ethical way, right? And we need everybody's input on that, not just people that we just deem, oh, they are the gatekeepers of the hallowed halls of academia. Like we need everybody to kind of get involved and it never hurts to be up on what's going on technologically, scientifically. I think that what happens though is that people can, like myself, I can sometimes feel like super duper like a layman, you know what I mean? And sometimes things are not always articulated in such a way that I feel like I can follow. I do the best I can, but it can be hard. It can be hard. And I think intimidating for a lot of people, but it's something that is definitely worth investing your attention and time into. Yeah.
I love that you brought up that STEM was not always love for you. You clearly ended up with STEM organization. So
Yeah.
somewhere along the way, we grew on you. But
Yeah.
not everyone falls in love with STEM from the get-go. Some people have bad experiences or they just don't enjoy it. And that can be a turnoff for the rest of people's lives. They can say, oh, I didn't do great in high school math, so STEM is not for me. I can't do that. Or it can take you away from wanting to learn about things. But I think something that you said is so important is that you have to have diversity in every field because it changes the types of questions that we're asking. And whether that's diversity of having multiple genders involved, multiple racial backgrounds involved, income levels, whatever your lived experience, even if that's coming from a non STEM background, that changes the way that you're going to see things. It's going to change what you understand, what you need out of something. And I think that that's a really important aspect that even if you're not going to be a STEM person forever, having that background and being willing to engage is super important. But also, STEM skills are life skills. Knowing how to not get discouraged when something doesn't go right the first time. Anyone who has ever tried robotics or coding knows the meaning of patience and
Yeah.
trying many,
Yeah.
many times and trying better each time, right? We fail forward every time. We try something, it doesn't work, we move forward and we do better. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that's underrated about STEM is those skills. You may not want to do robotics for life. That's okay. But even if you're going to be a dancer or a painter or a musician, knowing how to work through problems, navigate bad situations where things didn't work how you wanted, or deciding what improvements to make on the next time is only a benefit to your career. And I think that's something that STEM offers is lots of skills that people think are STEM skills, but they're really life skills.
Yeah. I If I can maybe even distill that even further, it sounds like you're saying that STEM provides many opportunities to fail and learn from such failure.
I can't disagree, but it's good failure, right? Failure
It's
isn't a
good
bad
failing
thing. It's a
forward.
learning
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And speaking from that, again, right brain, artistic, uh, humanity side, I've learned it's just like a lot like what you said. Um, Learning what works through knowing what doesn't, you know what I mean? Or learning what doesn't work. Um, and whether it's, oh, when I switch these words this way in this poem, then it feels even better. It's conveying really what I wanted to, or oh, next time I do that performance, I'm going to put more emphasis on this set of words as opposed to this set of words, or oh, the reason why this thing didn't pop off was because I didn't, you know what I mean? Like it. that's what I'm saying, two sides of the same coin. And what it really comes down to is teaching us those lessons underneath the surface. So it's going to be something exciting to jump into with this podcast, is kind of exploring STEM's relationship to all those other things that were, all those other facets of the human experience as well.
I think you have perfectly led me into our last kind of talking point for today, which is who is a job in STEM right for? And could that be you, the person listening to it right now? Is a job in STEM right for you?
Man, I guess, I would like to turn this on to you, Hannah, as someone who has had a background in STEM. Uh, who do you feel like is attracted to STEM fields?
I think that the people that get attracted to STEM fields are not always the same people that STEM is for, right?
Mm,
STEM is for everybody. People
mm,
get attracted to STEM because they like math or they want to be an engineer. They like something technical, working with computers. But STEM is for everyone. If you like working with your hands, if you like thinking about things, if you like moving, there is STEM in everything. And sometimes it's a matter of making your own pathway, right? I saw a while ago there was an incredible dance studio that does STEM and dance classes. And so
mm.
students learn how to code lights
Yeah,
that will
that's
light
dope.
up in certain ways when they dance. And so that's a job in STEM right there. It's art,
Yeah.
it's dance, but that's STEM. And so my answer to a job in STEM is for anyone because
Mm.
every job uses STEM. If you have ever used a pencil in your life, you have used STEM because that's a technology that was
Yeah.
created. If you can do anything on your phone, if you can open an app on your phone, you've done STEM. You used technology for a personal benefit. And so thinking outside of the box and knowing that you belong in STEM, no matter what you look like, no matter what you sound like, where you come from, whatever your identity is, you belong in STEM, and STEM is for you.
Mm. I really don't know if I can add to that. I think that's pretty much it. I think I would just be adding word salad on top of that, Hannah. That was beautifully said.
Then, with that, I think we can wrap up right here. Thank you all so much for listening. Join us again in a couple weeks for our next episode as we dig deeper into the world of STEM, or the STEM universe, as I'm going to start calling it.
Dem cinematic universe.
And yes, the STEM cinematic universe. And stay right here. We will have more in a couple weeks.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Let's Grow Together podcast. We'll see you next time.